Today, we're diving deep into the top 4 rarest and most valuable US coins, could be worth hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars that could turn your pocket change into a fortune. From secret mint errors to historic treasures hiding in plain sight, these coins have shocked collectors and auction houses, so grab your magnifying glass. Today, we're diving deep into the mysterious story of the 1971-era UK Elizabeth II new pence coin, a coin that was meant to represent a new beginning for Britain's currency but ended up producing some of the rarest and most valuable era coins in UK history. Have you ever imagined finding a small copper coin in your change that could secretly be worth thousands or even millions of pounds? Of rare minting mistakes, errors so extraordinary that collectors across the world are paying astonishing sums for them. Back in 1971, Britain did something that hadn't been done in centuries. It completely changed its currency system. The country switched from the old pounds, shillings, and pence to a modern decimal system, where 100 new pence made £1. February 15, 1971, became known as Decimal Day, a monumental shift that affected every business, every shop, and every citizen. To prepare for this massive change, the Royal Mint struck millions of new coins with a fresh design, including the new pence coins, ranging from halfpennies to 50-pence pieces. One of the most famous and valuable examples is the 1971 new pence struck on the wrong planchet. Normally, the coin should be bronze, weighing around 7.12 grams. But a few were accidentally struck on planchets meant for other denominations like the smaller 1 new penny or the thicker 10 new pence blanks. These off-metal errors are exceptionally rare. Imagine a 2 new pence coin that's silver in color or unusually light or heavy. These are telltale signs of such errors. Verified examples have sold for jaw-dropping prices, with some fetching £10,000 to £25,000 at major UK coin auctions. Another highly valuable error type is the double strike or misaligned die error. This happens when the coin is struck twice, or the dies that stamp the coin's design are slightly out of alignment. The result is a coin showing a shadowed or overlapping image of the Queen's portrait, lettering, or reverse design. These errors are visually stunning and extremely collectible. A crisp double-struck 1971 new pence in mint condition has been known to sell for £5,000 to £12,000, and depending on how dramatic the doubling appears, values could go even higher. But perhaps one of the most incredible errors from the 1971 series is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank isn't properly seated in the press, causing the design to be stamped off-center. The coin appears lopsided, often showing a blank area of metal where part of the design should be. For collectors, the more off-center the strike and the more of the date and portrait that remain visible, the greater the value. Some 1971 off-center 2 new pence coins have sold for £3,000 to £8,000, and extremely rare examples have reached beyond £10,000. Now, let's talk about the broad strike errors. These are coins struck without the restraining collar that gives coins their perfect round shape. The metal spreads out more than normal, creating a wider, flatter coin. A broad-struck 1971 new pence can look slightly stretched or soft-edged, making it easy to spot. Collectors love these errors for their unique appearance, and depending on condition, they can bring in £1,000 to £3,000 or more. But it doesn't stop there. Some of the most fascinating 1971 new pence errors are the die cap and brockage errors. A die cap error happens when a coin sticks to the die and continues to strike other coins, creating a mushroomed or domed look. A brockage error occurs when one coin gets struck against another already minted coin, leaving a mirror image on one side. These types of errors are extremely rare and visually spectacular. A die cap or brockage 1971 2 new pence coin can easily exceed £15,000, and in some unique cases, collectors have valued them at £30,000 or more. So, the next time you come across a 1971 Elizabeth II new pence, take a closer look. Tilt it under the light. Check the lettering, feel the texture. Because that ordinary-looking coin might not be ordinary at all. It might be one of those rare error coins worth thousands, tens of thousands, or maybe even £1,000,000 or more. What if I told you that this seemingly ordinary 1971 UK Elizabeth V new pence coin could actually be worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of pounds because of a rare minting error? Yes, you heard that right. A tiny coin that most people would overlook could be one of the most valuable hidden treasures in British coinage history. The story of the 1971 5 new pence coin begins in one of the most fascinating chapters in British monetary history, the year of decimalisation. This was the year when the United Kingdom officially transitioned from the old pounds, shillings, and pence system to the new decimal system, which we use today. It was a monumental change, one that affected every coin in circulation. And with such a massive overhaul, it was inevitable that mistakes would slip through the cracks. Those mistakes are now what collectors dream of finding: the error coins. One of the most legendary among them is the 1971 error 5 new pence. What makes these coins so extraordinary is that they were never meant to exist in their error form. Some were struck on the wrong metal blanks, others had off-center strikes, double dies, or were struck using test or foreign planchets. Each type of error adds a layer of mystery and value, and depending on the type, these coins can command prices that climb into the hundreds, thousands, or even over £1,000,000 in rare cases when in pristine condition. Among the most sought-after varieties is the off-metal strike. Some 1971 UK Elizabeth V new pence coins were accidentally struck on bronze or cupronickel planchets meant for other denominations. Imagine a 5 pence struck on a 1 penny blank. The color alone would give it away instantly, appearing in a copper hue instead of silver. Only a few of these have ever surfaced, and when they do, collectors go absolutely wild. One such coin reportedly sold for over £25,000 at auction. Another type of error that sends collectors into a frenzy is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank is not properly aligned with the dies during striking, resulting in part of the design being missing or off balance. The more off-center the strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. Perfectly preserved off-center 1971 5 new pence coins have fetched over £5,000 depending on how visible and dramatic the error is. Then there are the double die errors, which are particularly fascinating. These occur when the die used to stamp the coin has been accidentally impressed twice with a slight misalignment, creating a doubling effect on the lettering or design. On a 1971 5 new pence, this could mean a doubled new pence or even a doubled portrait of the Queen. The visual impact is stunning, and so is the value. Coins with strong doubling have sold for £10,000 or more, especially when the doubling is visible to the naked eye. The 1971 5 new pence also has examples struck on foreign planchets, meaning blanks intended for coins of other countries. Imagine flipping through your loose change and spotting an ordinary-looking Susan B. Anthony dollar from 1979, only to find out it's a rare Denver Mint error worth a small fortune. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, today, you're about to discover the shocking truth behind one of America's most controversial and collectible coins, the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar, and why some rare error versions have stunned collectors with sky-high auction prices reaching into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Back in 1979, the United States Mint made a bold decision to honor Susan B. Anthony, the legendary women's rights activist, by putting her on the new $1 coin. It was the first time a real woman, not Lady Liberty, appeared on U.S. circulating currency. The design featured a strong, determined portrait of Anthony on the obverse and the Apollo 11 moon landing on the reverse, taken directly from the Eisenhower dollar's design. One of the most famous and valuable among them is the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar with a broad strike error. This happens when the coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally shapes its edges, causing the metal to spread out wider than normal. The result? A larger, almost stretched appearance. These broad strike examples can easily sell for several $100s, and in pristine condition, some have reached over $1,000 at auction. Then, there's the off-center strike error. Another incredible variety from the Denver Mint. This occurs when the coin blank, or planchet, isn't properly aligned with the dies when struck. The image ends up shifted, often showing only part of Susan B. Anthony's face or part of the moon landing design. Depending on how off-center the strike is, values can skyrocket. A 10% off-center strike might bring in $2,500, but a dramatic 50% off-center 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar could sell for $2,000 or more. But the real excitement comes with the double strike and die clash errors. These are the coins that collectors dream of finding. A double strike occurs when the coin is struck more than once, causing parts of the design to appear doubled, shadowed, or even overlapping. When it comes to 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollars, such double-struck examples are extremely rare and can command prices from $1,500 up to $5,000 depending on clarity and preservation. The die clash errors, on the other hand, are a little different but equally fascinating. These occur when the two dies, the metal pieces that stamp the design, accidentally hit each other without a planchet in between. This transfers part of each design onto the opposite die, and when the next coin is struck, faint, ghostly outlines from the opposite side appear on the coin's surface. Some 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollars with strong die clashes have sold for over $3,000 in mint state grades, especially when both the obverse and reverse show clear evidence of the clash. For example, one 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar struck on a quarter planchet, making it smaller and missing part of the design, was sold for over $15,000 at a major auction. Another coin believed to have been struck on a foreign planchet fetched nearly $25,000, shocking collectors and proving that even modern U.S. coins can carry massive hidden value. One 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar with a 15% off-center strike sold for $1,020 at a Heritage Auctions event. Another broad-struck 1979 D. in near-perfect condition brought $1,500. A double-struck 1979 D with clear overlapping design elements hammered at $3,600. And perhaps the most astonishing of all, a 1979 D struck on a silver planchet verified by PCGS sold for a staggering $108,000. Today, we're diving deep into the incredible story of the 1976-era Bicentennial quarter dollar, a coin that not only celebrates America's 200th birthday but also hides some of the most valuable mint errors in U.S. history. Imagine finding a simple quarter in your pocket that could be worth thousands or even millions of dollars. It looks just like any other coin at first glance: George Washington on one side, the special 1776 to 1976 date, and a patriotic drummer boy on the reverse. But what if I told you that some of these bicentennial quarters hide shocking minting mistakes, errors so rare that collectors would pay small fortunes to own one? Back in the early 1970s, the United States was preparing for its 200th anniversary. To mark the bicentennial of American independence, the U.S. Mint wanted to create something special, something patriotic that would be seen and touched by every American. So, in 1975 and 1976, they produced special versions of the quarter, half dollar, and dollar coins. Each coin featured a dual date, 1776 to 1976, and unique reverse designs celebrating the spirit of the nation. Let's start with one of the most legendary examples, the 1976 Bicentennial quarter struck on a silver planchet by mistake. You see, the Denver and Philadelphia mints were supposed to use only copper nickel-clad blanks. But during production, a few leftover 40% silver planchets from the San Francisco mint somehow made their way into the wrong presses. The result? A small number of 1976 D quarters struck in silver instead of copper nickel. These ultra-rare off-metal errors are genuine mint mistakes, authenticated and confirmed by grading services like PCGS and NGC, and they can sell for unbelievable amounts. One of these silver bicentennial quarters sold for over $19,000, and others have been rumored to fetch even higher prices in private sales. Imagine a 25-cent coin worth the price of a car just because it was struck on the wrong metal. But the story doesn't stop there. Some 1976 bicentennial quarters were also struck on planchets meant for other denominations, such as dimes, half dollars, or even foreign coins. When this happens, the coin is smaller or larger than normal, often missing parts of the design. These types of errors, called wrong planchet strikes, are so rare that collectors will pay thousands for them. A verified bicentennial quarter struck on a dime planchet, for example, has sold for more than $10,000. Another incredible error involves the double die obverse. This happens when the coin die which stamps the design shifts slightly between strikes, creating a doubled image on the lettering or details. On the bicentennial quarter, doubling can appear on the words Liberty or the date 1776 to 1976. Strong double die examples are extremely rare, and when certified in high grade, these coins can command prices of $2,000 to $5,000 or more, depending on clarity and condition. Then there are the off-center strike errors, where the coin blank is misaligned during striking. The design ends up shifted, sometimes dramatically, leaving large blank areas of metal on one side. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if both the date and major design elements are visible. A 1976 bicentennial quarter with a 50% off-center strike sold for $3,500, and some even more dramatic examples have exceeded $5,000. One of the most fascinating varieties is the double-struck bicentennial quarter, where the coin was struck twice, sometimes with a visible rotation between strikes. Imagine seeing two overlapping drummer boys or two Washington portraits. It's a collector's dream. These double-struck 1976 quarters can easily fetch $2,000 to $10,000, depending on how bold the second strike is. In recent years, collectors have paid astounding prices for high-grade bicentennial quarters with unique characteristics. For example, a 1976 D Bicentennial quarter graded MS67 Plus sold for over $6,000, and that wasn't even an error coin, just a flawless example. Add an error into the mix, and you're talking serious money.